Welcome to Deming. So today we're going to take out this arb and we're going to put in a flagpole because of America. But this arb has been sticking out from where it's supposed to be. It was supposed to go up more in the air, but you can see kind of underneath here where it's grown out over the landscaping timber, and it's not very appealing looking. So I'm going to take that out of there, put in a flagpole, and I'm going to have to do some research to determine where the flagpole needs to go, because even though this looks like a rock, it is not. It's just a cover for the wellhead that's there. So for someplace between that rock and right inside underneath here is where the water line goes into the house, the main line. So I got to be very careful of that. But the that arb's got to come out. It's too big. It overlaps, and if I'm trying to sit on the porch and stare at people driving by and maybe yell at them for driving too fast or something, I can't hardly see them until they're, you know, clear over to the edge, and then by then it's too late. So that guy's coming out of there. I'm gonna go get the chainsaw fired up and get to town on this thing. Let me show you some things here. So first of all, this is a problem right here. That's a mulberry, and it comes off of trees like that over there, and that becomes a problem. See the trees, there's a fence line there. You can see birds eat those. They drop out those seeds from the mulberry and they shoot up like crazy, and they eat your fence row. They eat your fence row, they eat your shrubs, they eat everything. They just go nuts getting in there, and the birds just keep doing what they're doing over and over again. And that causes a problem. So here's what I got out so far. A lot more probably than it looks like, maybe. Then over here, as I got a wasp. I'm sure it had a nest in there somewhere. But as I was cutting into this, you can see I kept going and going, and there's another one, and there's another one. And you got to be careful when you're chainsawing. I learned the hard way that your chain hits the dirt, you might as well just go start sharpening it now, because it's dull immediately. And this thing's a ripper. It's been doing great. I put a brand new bar on there a couple weeks ago. Thing fires right up. It's just a great saw, so pretty happy about that. But there's a lot of history going on down here in this dirt. Anything that ever got swept off the front steps here just automatically went right over here, because I couldn't see it anymore. So see like some food wrappers there, a lot of roofing material in here, so I'm going to have to be careful about that when I start to clean this out. But there's nails everywhere. You can see there's a green nail head right there. Over here there's a whole shingle nail just fell out of that one. So I got problems here that I'm gonna have to clean up, but again, a lot of history. A piece of rotten wood from some part of the house at some point. Looks like it was nailed on at the end there to something probably pretty cool, and it's long gone now. But a lot of cleanup to continue to do here. I got this out about as far as I want to. I can shave off the rest of that with a hedge trimmer or something like that. I'm going to bring my pruners over to get down in the dirt with the rest of this stuff. But then I got to start, once I got this cleared out, I got to start determine where the flagpole is going to go. So here's where I've been sneaking around to, my secret workspace. Probably could tell I got my new gloves on today. Just got these at the store. Got a kind of a, they're expensive. I'll just put it that way. And they got this impact on them, so that come in really handy when you're pounding your knuckles against stuff. But I got to be honest with you, mechanics gloves, when you're trying to bend your fingers into a fist, these things just rip on your joints. Might have to see if I could do some alterations to those, get these to work a little bit better. But they're great. It's the only kind, Mechanics is the only kind I ever seem to buy anymore. They're nice and padded, you can see, and they're tough leather. They last usually several years for me. So the other thing I wanted to point out, I always like to tell some stories, but the other thing I want to point out to you is, if you ever find yourself in the market for a wheelbarrow, I want to recommend to you that you get the two front wheels, because that just having two front wheels made that completely a one-handed job. So I walked around the house, had to hold the tops of those trunks down onto the top of the wheelbarrow, but could operate the wheelbarrow completely with one hand because of the dual front wheels. This is a model that the ex-mother-in-law got me for Father's Day or Mother's Day or anniversary, or God rest her soul, something. But it works great. Had to replace the tubes in the tires a couple times. I wish I could afford the tubeless ones that never deflate on you, but anyway, that thing worked out great. I was contemplating what's going on here, because I got a pretty big flag, and that's not that big of a deal typically, but I've got to keep that flag from ever touching the side of the house. So I got to get the flagpole far enough that it can't whack itself into the house when the wind is blowing. So that might put myself clear out here on this front corner with a flagpole. I'm not sure about that. One thing I'm fairly adamant on is taking the flag inside when it rains, or at nighttime if there's not a light on it. This flagpole comes with a solar light, so we'll see how well that works at night. I don't know how solar lights work at night, but whatever, maybe by moonlight. But I like to be able to just rip out here in my bare feet and pull this flag in, and then at night or whatever, when it starts to rain. But maybe I could just chop myself down the landscape timber if I have to that corner to get it down. But anyway, I think if I put it here, I'm not sure that distance to the house, but I don't want it to be too close to the house. The other thing I need to research is where the original flagpole was, because there was a flagpole out here some time ago, but when my aunt lived here, when this had a completely different look in the front. But I'd like to see where that was, because it made sense. It's probably right near where that rock was, or is. So that may not work, but that's the plan anyway. Also, I wanted to show you something else I found here. When I was diving into this, I don't know my plants very well. I know some plants, and I know what I think that plant might be, which means that somebody has either been out here partaking, or maybe they were throwing it out that open window there. I don't know, but I do know most of my leaves, especially the ones that I'm familiar with. That one there. Also, sneaking around the side of this thing, this is a burning bush. I noticed when I got toward my hiding spot, now I don't see it, but looked like there were some more of those, but now I really don't see them in there anymore. I also thought I'd show you some of the fruits of my labor today. Again, Nikki and I went to the store this morning and picked up some of this here. We are down to no chairs to sit on the patio because we've broken through all of them because they've aged and weathered so badly. Not because one of us is super fat or anything like that. Also got my quick set concrete to go with the flagpole, because I don't know when the rain's coming. That could be tomorrow, I think. But I wanted to show you what was going on out here at the burn 'em up pile. This is where my hammock goes, by the way. It goes from that tree right over to this tree here, right in the shade. It's perfect. This tree spent a couple weekends ago over at the neighbor's house cutting up. I made sure that I cut the logs. It's about 4 feet tall in there, just full of nothing but these logs. These are, guess what the berries are. Again, we took care of that mulberry tree that he had going because it was huge. But I tried to make the logs the size that I could reach them. Also, my workplace has trouble with people picking up these pallets because they're so long, but I certainly know what to do with them. And that's going to lead us straight to this tree, which is a silver maple that I planted, I don't know, 10-ish, 15 years ago. Not very many years ago. A lot sooner than I planted either one of those two guys over there. But I'm pretty confident that this thing is into the septic system, at least the edges of the fingers, because of the way that that bark is just splitting out of its skull, it seems like. So pretty sure I'm going to take this down. I'm learning a lot about chainsawing, felling trees, falling trees. I'm pretty sure I'm confident I can get this thing down by myself and to keep it away from the house when I do so. There's Darth Vader. You're a mess. And then we got the volleyball court. I'm going to be doing a whole video on this thing because there's a lot of history here, but you can see it's kind of dilapidated. It's falling apart. So we'll get to that in a later video. I forgot to tell you the story. I told you I like telling stories. I forgot to tell you the story of this front porch. So there's a lot of history on this front porch. It's been completely redone by myself. It needs help still, but it needs really a paint job. But I had a lot of fun on this front porch. But this front porch is notorious for having things removed from it because you can see that it's fairly close to the roadway here. So I'll stand back a little bit so you can get it in the picture. But the road comes really close to the side of the house here. And my aunt used to really enjoy artsy fartsy things, and she collected geodes. She had some really nice ones that she set on that front porch for, just to invite you in when you stop by, but they all shortly disappeared because of, I believe, their proximity to this roadway right here. But yeah, a lot of good times had on the front porch. This is what we ended up with here. Nikki's putting the chairs together with a wrist brace on. She got one left to go, but they look pretty sharp. I think they're going to do just fine for what we need. And around here, we got just a couple of stumps left there. Got this all cleaned up, and here's a flagpole. So there's still some construction left to do with that, but that's going to set up. I'm going to leave it go for at least probably 24 more hours, and before I put it the rest of the way together and try to fly a flag from it. But it's all set.